Hello, everyone, and welcome to From Soil to Table. Today, we are diving deep into a fascinating pocket of food industry innovation, or our dynamic innovation elect. When we think about food innovation, our minds often jump high-tech lab alternatives. But today, we're going right to the absolute root of the supply chain, soil. We are exploring how biological products are completely transforming agriculture, food safety, and retail structure right here in South Africa. Joining me today is Andre, an expert and also a colleague from Gibbs in biological products of Syngenta. Andre, welcome and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Dwight. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm very passionate about soil health and biological products and the future of it. So I'm a massive fan of farmers. So thanks for hosting me.
Awesome. So let's start at the beginning of viewers who might not know or come from an agricultural background. What exactly are biological products in agriculture, and how do they differ from conventional crop protection methods used for decades?
Yeah. So biological products. We get in the crop protection industry. We get conventional chemical products. We manufacture synthetic chemicals, or we get biological products that's derived from plant extracts or other organic or biological compounds. So the biggest difference is where it comes from. So it's not synthetic; it's more biological. So it's usually people assume that it can be safer. It's not always the case, but in general, it's safer. It's more organic, and it comes from nature. The nice thing about conventional chemistry is that you know exactly how it works. There's nothing that influences the mode of action or the efficacy. Where with biological products, you sometimes have a lower efficacy or lower working because it's a biological product. So it's a big difference in terms of efficacy. It used to be a massive difference, but with technology, we are moving into a space where it becomes more and more optional to go to a biological solution.
So, do your conventional product that we currently use leave some residue on the product? And how significant is the residue issue for South African consumers? And what then about food safety when buying conventional produce on our shelves?
Okay. So thanks for the question, right? I think it's fundamentally important, and I think it's a question where there's a lot of uncertainty or there's a massive educational job to be done for consumers because people get fed news through social media and through all sorts of things and not through scientists. So how it works is if we bring a new molecule to market, a new crop protection product or a pesticide, then we have to adhere to very strict regulatory and residue research that we do long before we bring it to South Africa. So Syngenta is a global multinational company, and we are one of the few R&D companies still in business. So we bring new molecules to market. We don't do generic stuff, so we bring new solutions to market. So we have to do a lot of footwork before South Africa even gets aware of this new product. So our head office is in Switzerland, and once we they find a new molecule, they go through certain tests whether or not it can be the efficacy, will it be acceptable, is it possible to get it sprayed on a crop that it gets taken up or that it can control the pest that you're targeting. So that's the first step. The second, and probably one of the most important ones, is that they really investigate whether or not this product is safe for use. And safe for use is two things. It's the operator, the guy spraying the pesticide. Is it safe for him to apply this to a crop? And then second one is, how does this molecule break down until residue level that's acceptable or that's not harmful to people. So there's a lot of work that gets done, and we've got a lot of molecules in the past. All the companies, the whole industry has stopped the research on new molecules a lot of times when the one of these two were not allowable or within certain limits. So then that product comes to South Africa. We have to prove efficacy. We need to show that the product works, but also we have to hand in this residual residue data to the Department of Health, and they check to see if it aligns with what's the global regulations and so on. So if we bring a new molecule to market, we know exactly if you spray it on a specific crop at a specific stage in a specific area, how long it will take until that molecule has been broken down until an acceptable level. So there's two things. We either get to a residue level that's either acceptable, and that's set by global health standards. So it says that if you spray, for example, azoxystrobin, it needs to be 0.02 milligrams per kilogram of fruit or vegetable, whatever the crop is that you eat. So there's a limit there that we get to, or we get to what we call LOQ, or limit of quantification. So there's so little that you can't pick it up in a residual analysis. So depending on the molecule and its health scope or the characteristics of that molecule, we get certain residues. So and then based on that, we get a registration to say, but this product can only be applied on this crop. So let's say tomatoes or peppers, because a tomato pepper you spray onto the crop itself. Where on a potato you can't spray the crop because it's under the soil. So you don't hit the crop itself. So on tomatoes, peppers, these kind of above ground fruit vegetables that you spray the fruit itself or the crop itself, it's very strict, that residue level. So we would say that for this pesticide, at the registered dosage rate or the application rate that you apply, you're not allowed to harvest that thing within 3 or 7 or 14 or sometimes 40 days after application. So there's very strict rules, regulations. Most of the retailers or the respectable ones do residue tests, and they will let the farmer know, listen, you've sprayed something here that's not allowed, and we pick up a residue, and they send back that whole shipment of crop. They send it back to the farmer. So I think in general we are food is generally very safe. As with everything else, you don't have 100% control of what happens, but in general we have to adhere to specific minimum residue levels. So it works on the conventional chemistry side.
And then, with regards to the residue conversation, is there in the market a move away from these chemicals where we're now trying to move towards zero residue market? Because I note that the European Union is very much moving closer and closer in that particular direction. Is there a market for this?
Yes, there is definitely. So we all want to get to lower residues, but the challenge we sit on the other hand is that we also need to be able to feed people, and to feed people we need to control pests. Otherwise we won't have food security. So that's the balancing act that we need to take into consideration when we talk about residues and safe food. So in general, all food is safe. We are moving towards safer food and balancing food security, because globally food security is massive. For example, South Africa is a food secure country, but 20 to 30% of all people goes to bed hungry in the evening. So we are food secure, but food is not always available. In the same sentence, in the same breath, South Africa, we lose about 30% of all produce due to rotting and bad post-harvest management and so on. So it's a massive issue. So we need to find the balance. So yes, we are all moving towards less residues, lower residues, more organic kind of things. So what we do is conventional chemistry, the development of conventional chemistry is also a lot more target specific. So where in the past you get one thing, you spray it and it kills everything. Where now we target the specific pests, just one pest, and it does nothing to the rest. So bees used to be a massive challenge for the industry, and we've removed most products that's harmful to bees, and now you can spray an insecticide that does absolutely nothing to a bee. So that's how technology has moved. The market for that is massive. So in Europe, you get a premium for an organic or a lower residue kind of product. In South Africa, we have a massive range in terms of our incomes. So we need to, for the one end, offer people who can buy higher priced stuff with food without residues. We need to be able to offer that, but we also need to ensure that people has got enough food. So it's a bit of a balancing act. So in South Africa currently, farmers do not really get the premium for an organic produce that is aligned with the additional risk and the additional losses that you get because of pests that you cannot control. So in Europe, we do that. So a lot of the export crops like citrus has moved towards integrated spray programs where we spray conventional chemistry, but we partner that with biological product in certain periods of the application period, and then you get residue free or lower residue fruit, let's say, but you get a premium for it. So there's definitely a market. It's where we're moving towards. It's not as quick and easy. So Syngenta or the industry spends a lot of money and resources on research, and it takes very long. It takes Syngenta South Africa from the day that we find a new molecule at head office until we get registration in South Africa. It takes us between 15 and 17 years. So it takes very long to get that done. To bring a new molecule to market costs between $300 and $500 million, and the amount of people that's investing in new molecules and new technology is just decreasing all the time because of this timeline and because of the massive increase in cost. So it remains a challenge to bring new markets. So uh, the reason I'm telling you this, Dwight, is because we cannot move where we want to in a short period of space. It's going to take time and it's going to take a lot of resources to get there. But yes, we are definitely moving towards a space. Personally, I can't see that we go into a full organic system on certain crops and in certain niche markets. Yes, it's possible, but on a global, on the scale that we need for the global population, we will get to a integrated pest management. We call it IPM, or integrated pest management, where we fit the right product for the right target at the right time, and with safe food in mind and with food security in mind. So that's where we're heading.
Environments. How does an establishment like yours sense this shifting consumer tide towards biologicals, and how is it responding to it? I know that as an export, it's a challenge because the European market are looking for the organic stuff, where in South Africa it's far more complex than that.
Yes. So Dwight, so Syngenta is we do sensing. So let me start there. We do sensing. We are a global company, multinational in probably every country all over the world, and we work with farmers. So we have a very good idea of what's happening on ground level, at farm level, all over the world. We understand what the consumer wants. We talk a lot to consumers. We do business with some of the consumers on a global level. We are Syngenta is part of the EU commissions, so we sit on some of the EU boards and so on. So we've got a very good idea of where we're going, what consumers prefer, where preferences are moving, where trends are moving, what's possible, what's not possible. So in terms of sensing that's important. The other thing that's extremely important is because Syngenta is globally the biggest crop protection company globally. So we can sense, and it's also good to sense. But unfortunately, because we are a leader, we are also shaping the market. So we can't wait to see what and sense what's happening. We also need to drive the change that we feel that needs to happen. So we yes, we do sensing. We do a lot of understanding of what's going on, and we regularly we spend a lot of time to brainstorm about what's happening and what's changing and where is it we should head. But it's not only from a sensing part. It's also from we need to shape the future that we can create. As I mentioned earlier, research is extremely expensive. There's not a lot of companies that still invest in research. I think globally in the crop protection market, we are 5 or 6 companies globally that still does what we call research and development of new molecules. So we have the obligation to also come up with new stuff and to shape where this is going. So we can sense, yes, it's important to sense, but if we only follow the market, then things might not change, and we understand that it should change. So that's on the sensing part. So we do sense, but we also dream. Let's call it dream. We also need to come up with where we want the industry to go to. So seizing in terms of seizing, that's massive. It's very important. As I told you, the how expensive it is to do research development, and you also need, unfortunately, like a lot of things in economy, you also need scale to do it. So one company spending 10% of their income on research might not do a lot. So Syngenta being an enormous company, we really spend a lot of money on research development, and we've got scale. We've got some of the best people in the industry globally that does research. So we also did some acquisitions because I told you this pipeline is very, very patient. It takes a long time to bring new markets. So we also acquired a couple of companies. We are also working with some partnerships with some of the global leaders in research in biologicals. So both acquisitions, in-house R&D, which Syngenta is very, very proud of, and then global partnerships with key research universities, with research companies, with Novartis Biologicals. So there's a lot of done in terms of the seizing, how we doing it. Then in terms of reconfiguring, what's very interesting about South Africa or Syngenta is that each country has got sort of control of where they want to go and where they're hiding. So if the South African market was very strictly conventional, no drive towards biologicals, we didn't have to do it. It's not a mandate from the global company where we need to go. So we see the market moving in that direction. We want to shape that market in future. So locally and globally, so we have full support. So we are following the global thing. We don't have to. We want to. We've got a bit of a choice in that. So we do a lot of work on IPM, integrated pest management, where we see this biological that only gives you 60% control, where a conventional product gives you 80% control. So we position the biological control later in the season to where you get a lower efficacy, so you don't control all the pests or all the disease that's on there, but it's up to an acceptable level, but you don't sit with chemical residues. So we are focusing a lot on biological products, on our biological pipeline. So it's a capacity shift, it's a capability shift, because we working with a conventional thing, it's predictable. You know exactly how it's going to work. You know exactly how it's going to react. Storage, temperature doesn't have a massive influence on it. In biologicals, if you store that product in the sun for 5 hours, then it might not work as well. So we also need to take that into account. And in our development, we also put a lot of emphasis and focus on formulating these products, because we are in Africa, and it's usually very warm here and hot here. The conditions for biological products is not the greatest here. And we also try to incorporate that in our formulation, where we ensure that this product is a bit more robust for our conditions here. So that's with the dynamic capabilities, where we really try to take advantage of this and to shape the market.
Syngenta is a global giant, and it has speaking to farmers across board. Now, if we had to talk about the ecosystem innovation, so we talk about who are the vital players in the agricultural ecosystem. So taking biological farming from the lab to end up at the table of my dinner tonight. So who are the vital players now?
So first we need to do the research to ensure that it's a product that's safe to use, whether biological or not. It needs to be safe to use. That's the first step that needs to be checked. The second one is we need to show that that product is efficient enough to control a certain pest or disease. So we do that in-house. Then we have to submit a dossier of efficacy, of safety, of safe use, recommended residue levels to the Registrar of Act 36 of 1947. That's the act that all crop protection products fall under, or agricultural remedies fall under. And so the Registrar's office, they need to evaluate this dossier to see if they agree that this product is safe to use, it's efficient, and it won't do harm to anyone in the pipeline. Then we've got a channel of our marketing team. Our channel we work with through distributors, so they need to be trained. They need to be educated on how to use this product, how to use it safely, how to sell it, and what's the benefit of the product. Then probably for me the most important person in this value chain is the farmer. And the farmer can only do this. So margins for farmers are seriously under pressure. They are very exposed in terms of risks, input costs, and they are price taker. I mean, they just get a price. So this product firstly needs to solve problems that they have on farm. That's the biggest. So there needs to be, it needs to work very well against a certain pest or disease or weed, if it in the case of herbicide. So it needs to fill a gap in his area. It needs to be practical for him to use. So some of these biological products, especially, sometimes the rates at which you have to apply it to get good efficacy is just practically impossible. So then that whole thing stops here. We can't go further because it doesn't make sense for him. It needs to be affordable, because at the end of the day, we need affordable food. You can spray a lot of things, you can do a lot of things, and you will either get lettuce with a worm in it, or marks on it, or a disease on it, so it's not usable, or it's so expensive that you and me can't afford it. So the last person in this value chain is the consumer. This needs to be acceptable for the consumer. It needs to be safe for the consumer, and through that whole value chain, we have to jump through a lot of hoops, and we have to make sure that everyone in this value chain is acknowledged, is understood, and this is aligned with their needs. And so there's a lot of things. So this is the direct value chain. On either side, and at every step in this value chain, or every segment in this value chain, there's also other things: logistics, administration, financing. So there's a lot of other things that also need to be in place. So I just explained to you the flat value chain of the most basic ones that's important.
Yeah. And then the other point here in South Africa, right, is that we always have a reality of South Africa, where we have farmers who they have these massive industrial scale farms, who are perceived to have lots and lots of money and can afford these biologicals and stuff like that. And then if we look at the subsistence farmers, like on the small holdings, who've got like a small crop that they might be selling to the local spaza shops and stuff like that. Looking at these particular farmers, these different markets, because obviously something that may seem like it's reasonably affordable for a big commercial farm is different to a subsistence farmer. So what is Syngenta putting in place to be able to accommodate those particular two markets?
Yes. So Dwight, currently Syngenta South Africa, we are not focused on small scale farmers.
Okay.
We focus on commercial farmers, and for a couple of reasons. The most important one for me is stewardship of product. So remember, we work with a product that's regulated, and that can be really harmful to people if not managed in a correct way. So in the past, small scale growers have bought product pesticides, and remember, this is now with a couple of years back when there was very harmful chemicals still available and so on. So they got this and decanted this into cold drink bottles and other bottles. then there's in a home there's a bottle, a Coke bottle with some bad pesticides in. So we for this reason it's not worth it to play in that market, firstly because we don't want anyone harmed by Syngenta product. We really don't want that. Um, so where we are heading towards, and I had a very interesting meeting this morning with a partner where that company is doing great, unbelievable work in the small scale farming sector, and we are partnering with them now. Now I can't mention the name because it's not
Yeah.
public yet, but we are partnering with them
Yeah.
for two reasons. So the first reason is what they're doing is absolutely amazing. What they're doing with small scale growers. So it's an unbelievable business model. It's really adding value. It's really uplifting people. It's educating people, and I truly believe it's just unbelievable what they're doing. The second one is their mindset is not to give small scale farmers pesticides, harmful pesticides. So what they offer currently to them is safer alternatives. So we also have conventional chemistry that's a lot safer to use than some of the other products that is available. So they really spend a lot of time and research to make sure that the product they offer to a small scale farmer is not harmful if it gets into the wrong hands. So we are very, very excited about that because this gives us access to the market. And the second one is I think this is the right way to support small scale farmers. So very, very excited about this project. Where
Yeah.
where I think we should be heading is that in each village, let's talk about the village, and there's a couple of small scale farmers. Instead of decanting pesticides there, we should have one person as an application consultant or a application service provider. We should train him on safe use. We should enable him to start up his own business, a spray application
Yeah.
services, and we can supply him with a good quality knapsack sprayer or drone or whatever. So you have one person in a village who is trained for safe use of products. So we can just ensure that the stewardship and the safe use of it, because it's unbelievably important. Yeah.
It's awesome. Like, I mean, it sounds like a really good, good start of a success story
Yeah.
in terms of the business model. You're creating a solution that for small scale farmers that you had previously not tapped into.
Yes,
That's
definitely.
awesome. So now let's talk about consumer. What do you think consumers most misunderstand about how their food is grown, and what would you want them to
What's unbelievably it's just really amazing if you spend time with a farmer on farm level, how much he does to make sure that this food that he produces is safe. It's for most farmers a massive. It's just a passion for them to ensure that they've got a good quality product that's safe to use. So the perception might have been that farmers don't care about the consumer. It's not the truth. They really care about the consumer because they and it might not have been like this in the past, but they do realize that they are only there because of consumers. They need consumers, and they need the consumers to be happy, and so on. So the first thing that's important for us to know, and I would like you to know, is that farmers really care. Most of them, they really care about the consumer. They care about their product, and they are very proud of their product, which is just amazing. And they work with advisors who are passionate about their products. I mean, our distribution channel, our agents who sell crop protection products, they are educated people. They are passionate people, and they would not take any risks for themselves and for the business and for consumers. So they really make sure that they adhere to the regulations, to rules, and make responsible recommendations. So most of them also belong to CropLife to ensure that they are accredited and educated and keep on top of new things. So it's important for you to understand that the other thing is also that a biological does not mean safe.
Yes.
Antibiotics is biological products. It's synthetically made, but it's so some of the biological products I would not touch because it's really harmful. It's dangerous products where some conventional stuff is extremely safe on the other hand. So people, consumers should not get confused between biological and safe. So
Yes.
food that you buy at the supermarket is safe. I can guarantee that it is safe. If there's an issue, that load of fruit or vegetables gets sent back to the farmer, and he takes the losses for that. So they are not they won't take a chance on it. So yeah, I think so. So to summary, it was now a long story, Dwight. In summary, farmers really care. They're doing the right thing. They've got a team of advisors and companies supporting that value chain on the backside that people don't see. That's really trying to bring new solutions to market, new technology to market, and then the not everything that's biological is safe and easy to use. And not everything that's conventional is bad. So that's important to remember.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a really good distinction there because sometimes we tend to think like more natural stuff is like no, it's really knowledge is power, right? And the last question I have for you is around biologicals is where do you see biologicals 10 years from now um, in the farming landscape of South Africa and maybe further into Africa and then obviously Europe? I think they're quite more advanced than we are in terms of that because of their climate, etc.
Okay, so two things. The first one is in terms of market. So we see in South Africa, so the crop protection market is a certain size. We think that in 10 years from now, 50% of that crop protection market will be biologicals. Today it's about 14%. So there's going to be massive expansion in this market, and we're gonna head towards 50% of this market. Well, it might be 40, it might be 35, it might be 35.7, but we think it might get to 50%. So in terms of that market, there's a lot of growth. The reason
Yes.
for that growth is twofold. It's consumers, so we are moving into that direction. Also influenced by Europe and some of the other global big players in this industry. So yes, we are forced there. Other ones, farmers want to go there. We want to go there. The registrar, the regulatory environment wants to go there. Um, we, we want to become more sustainable. We want to bring new solutions to farmers, to consumers. So I'm extremely excited. The past 5 years, the difference in terms of formulation of products to where we were 5 years ago and where we are now, it's unbelievable. So there's a lot of development in terms of technology, of formulation, of active ingredient, of mode of action, understanding mode of action on exactly where you need to position a certain specific product. Stupid example, we use a lot of bacteria in biological products. If it's exposed to more than 25 degrees for a couple of hours, you lose a lot of your biological the we call it CFU, so the colony forming units. So some of them die, and you get lower efficacy. With formulation now, we have evolved so much that now the stuff can go in excess of 35 degrees for weeks on end. So it's more robust. The formulation is more robust for African and South African conditions. So we will see more effective products. We are doing a lot of research. So usually it's a plant extract, and you extract one or two. It's a plant extract. Where now with new technology, we extract the specific molecule that does the job, and not so you don't spray a cocktail anymore. You spray that exact molecule that's extracted from the plant that does the job. So your efficacy is a lot more um, predictable. It's a lot more consistent. It's going to be a lot more efficient. So it's a very exciting time. I think in 10 years from now, me and you should maybe have a reunion in 10 years on this, and then I can tell you how this simply evolved.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about the next 10 years for biologicals.
That we are evolving our techniques, farming techniques, and all that stuff, and there's so many complexities with.
Just thanks for the opportunity to talk about this. I'm really passionate about biologicals. I'm passionate about farmers, and because I'm passionate about farmers and farmers need consumers, I also am passionate about consumers. We need to have this discussions a lot more. It's important to educate consumers, farmers, everyone in the supply chain. We need to get government involved in these discussions, which we are. The registrar is also very supportive of the biological industry. We've got SABO. I'm also a director on the board of SABO, the biological organization, which try to support biologicals and to make sure that we have good quality biologicals, because we also have a responsibility towards consumers and to farmers to ensure that the products that's available on the market is reputable and it works. So we need more people to sit around the fire regularly, so we can have these discussions and make sure that the gaps are addressed, and where there's a misunderstanding, make sure that we address misunderstandings, and also we might miss something important. Let's get the views and the insights. What I've learned the past couple of years in this industry is that we've got so many talented people in South Africa on the consumer side, on the farming side, on behind the scenes, throughout the value chain. We really have amazing people, and everyone. I haven't met a lot of people that doesn't want to do justice to this, and to South Africa. So we need people, we need insights, we need all the brain power we can to make sure that we do this in a sustainable way, also in a responsible way, and that it makes sense for everyone in the value chain. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
No, awesome. Thank you, Andre. Thank you so much for your time and your key insights on this subject matter and how dynamic capabilities and ecosystems innovations are writing the rules of food production. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dwight.
All right.
Pleasure.